I'm not sure too much.
Well, that's what I was not at.
We did cut
Want to know any history about Douglas County? Read a book.
What's the setback?
Welcome. Y'all come on in. Come on. Everybody kept saying I'm going to have a big crowd, and I believe it. You see, I've got
So what's the purpose of the
if you don't know me, if you don't know me, I'm Ann Jones Geiger, District 4 Commissioner. And I always set a few little rules at my town hall meetings because I know you get very excited about some things or animated about some things. But please be courteous and no cross-talking. When somebody is asking a question and if I'm answering the question, be polite because the people in the back of the room, they want to hear what's going on. So if you don't, kind of cut out your conversation, personal conversations. If y'all want to step out in the hall, you're welcome to do that. Restrooms, go down the hall like you're going back to the stairs, turn to the right, and they're on the right. Okay? We got coffee. It's okay, get up, go get you some coffee, go get you some water, whatever. Got some donut too. Now I'm going to do a short presentation. I think town hall is more about you than me, but I'm going to try to answer all your questions. So I'm just going to kind of do an overall thing about the roads, about the budget, buses, maybe buses, and you know, the roads that we've paved or we're going to pave, and intersections we're going to fix, and all this other stuff. Just going to run through those, and just an overall review of the county. And then after that, I open it up to you. But when you ask a question, could I get you to stand and talk loud enough? The gentleman in the back is live filming this. I didn't know it, but welcome. You want to stand up and say who you're with?
Sure. I'm Jonathan Giles. I'm with All On Georgia Douglas. Don't throw anything. I'm with All On Georgia Douglas. We have a Facebook page. Some of you have seen it. Some of you haven't.
It's all in.
All On.
All
Georgia.
on. Okay.
All On Georgia.
Okay.
Douglas.
All right.
So.
Well, welcome. We don't have anything to hide, do we? So I don't care for them. But just make sure you talk loud enough so that he can pick you up on the camera too. Let's see.
Turn off your cell phones.
We've already done that.
Oh, okay.
If I'm talking or answering a question or having a conversation with someone in the audience, don't start talking. If you've got a question, a subsequent question, raise your hand. Back in school, okay? Just so that we can get to everybody and we won't interrupt everybody, okay? Any questions?
It said 4th and 5th grade door on the door out there.
I am up every Friday night. This is where we have Celebrate Recovery right here. But we don't have all 3 rooms open up. Bigger crowd tonight. And let me tell you, this is awesome. This is awesome to have this big of a turnout at one town hall for one district. You know, it's just awesome. Thank you for being here. I'm going to run through the roads first, okay? These are the splosh, the projects, the roads that were paid under the splosh program, just for Douglas, to District 4, okay? Central Church Road from Highway 5 to Black Star is completed. Liberty Road to Cole Road, completed. That's at I-20 down to the city, from the city limits down to Cole Road. And High Point Road to the dead end. And you may not can see this way back there. The ones in yellow. Now this is our, every year, the county has an LMIG program. You may have heard that term. LMIG really means like a local maintenance paving. We have to apply to the state for tax dollars, and then we have to do a match of funds. And I think it's 30% now since we didn't vote for the T-spot. But out of the ones that were scheduled to be paid in District 4, the ones in the yellow is the only ones that got paid this year. There was a delay. If you will recall, there was a lot of rain at the very beginning of the year. The paving crew started in District 2 on the eastern side of the county. And they also got tied up with some bike lanes. I mean, there's no secret. But the crew, our paving crew, was over there doing that instead of the regular paving. Bike lane was not a scheduled project. All right, we're going to talk about some of the worst intersections there are. Did y'all know that the mall is in my district? You go down Stewart Mill Road, and you go to Chapel Hill, come back around, back to Highway 5. This, McDonald's, Old Kmart parking, the Chevron station was there. And then, of course, this is Douglas Boulevard and everything. They're going to have 2 lanes. The state is going to have 2 lanes coming from the interstate, and believe it or not, they're going to be turning right there. I can't see it, but it amazes me sometimes what they can do. But there's going to be 2 lanes coming from the interstate, turning here and going to the mall. We are in the process under the splosh. You know, we had some funds in there to buy right-of-way for a left turn lane going north on Highway 5, right here. And buddy, when they tore that building down, I got on the phone to our DOT right away and said, hey, they tore the building down. Now we can get the right-of-way. So, because it's in the city, we are, Mike, we have one of the council members here, Mike Miller. And I forgot to introduce him, and I apologize. He's an elected official too. Stand up and say hello.
Well, I'm Mike Miller, represent Ward 2 in downtown Douglasville.
Do I have any more officials, elected officials in here? And I apologize, Mike. I'm sorry.
It's your meeting.
But anyway, because it is in the city, they have to negotiate the right of way with DOT. Okay? This is coming out of Walmart. Woo, didn't get mad at me. Here's coming out of Walmart. And this is in the works with Georgia DOT. What they're going to do with that site, I don't know. It's the whole corridor from the connector, the Bright Star connector, I guess it's called, all the way up to Douglas Boulevard is going to be revamped, and it's in the making. They're in the design plan and all this other stuff. Mason Creek Road. Will it ever? But they're paving. Have you noticed? There's asphalt down there. All right now you're looking down Man Road. This is Highway 78, and it goes on around here and connects to I-20 at the Post Road exit. You got that? This is gonna be the way it's the closing off Post Road up in here, down to Highway 78 where Sheriff Waldrop lives, if you know that. So it's gonna be one road right through there. Gonna be a red light. We've had a lot of accidents there. This is a state project. Anytime you have a state highway involved, you've got Georgia DOT involved. Okay? Any questions about that? Should be through by next year. Yes.
Is there any way to get a temporary three-way stop at Post and 78?
Post and 78.
Right where it cuts in down. I mean, I know they're getting ready to open a turn lane and all, but it backs up both ways at rush hour. Plus the fact you're
You mean up there where Sheriff Walker is?
Yeah.
No. I can tell you, not a three-way stop sign on a state highway.
But while it's a construction zone, they need to do something.
Pardon?
While it's a construction zone, what you're talking about.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there,
People that are getting off of I-20 going westbound, they turn right, and they go to 78, that backs up, and it's hard to turn left there to go to Man Road. You're stuck unless somebody's sweet enough to let you.
well, construction, sometimes it just causes problems, but this right here will open up pretty soon.
Thinking
In
that,
the
but we
next
have
few
no
months.
idea when they're gonna do it.
Pardon?
I said, we were thinking it would be soon, but we don't. it could
As
be
much,
another year and a half
as
or
much
2 years.
earth as they moved in that intersection, plus the intersection on down the road, down here at Common Road. You know, that's being redone at the same time that this one's being done.
So it's not an option to go I-20 to the next exit to avoid that?
It's a pretty good ways out of the way.
I don't know the area.
You're not gonna be able to put a stop sign on a state highway, I assure you. Yes, ma'am.
What is the timeline for getting this finished? Do we have a projected completion?
I think
date?
it's gonna be finished by next year.
Oh, next
Maybe
year.
toward
That's
the-
just month
In
after
1
next.
month.
Are we talking January?
No. Just remember, this is a state project.
So you're talking about 2019.
You know how the county moves like this, the state moves. You know what I'm talking about.
Do you have any idea, is there like a guesstimate as to when they are gonna open that so that we can have a light?
No, ma'am, it would take me longer to find that out than, we have here tonight. But I'll try to put some estimates out there. You have to go through DOT at the state to get any kind of estimate like that. But I will try. Mr. Martin, are you in here?
Yes, I am.
Would you write that down, please? Did everybody meet Rick Martin? He took Wes Talon's position in West Lab. So, and he's been on TV before, haven't he? Okay.
I wanted to make sure I got that last question.
She wants to have a timeline as to when the Man Road, Highway 78 will open, will be finished, plus the stretch of Man Road that connects to Post Road.
Gotcha.
If you write it down, I don't know what she's saying.
Oh,
I'm sorry, this is David Good, and I apologize for not introducing him too. He is the public liaison for the Antebellum Moreland. He works for Antebellum Moreland, and they are in charge of all splash projects. And he's gonna touch on a little bit about the website. If I can't answer it, he should be able to answer. Come on in, Mr. Llewellyn. Be a good Baptist and sit up here. This is Mr. Larry Llewellyn. He is the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board, and his sweet wife. Sweet now. Post Road Bridge. You know, they've already been out there doing a little bit of surveying. They're in the process of getting the right of way. Although it's a splosh issue project, the state, evidently there was a grant being applied for in the meantime, and they said, we got it. So the state's gonna pay for most of it. So that's great. And they'll be designing it next year. And as soon as that design's done, off we go.
Is that a widening or a new bridge or
They
what?
will have to widen it. It's a new bridge, yes.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Are they gonna do 4 lanes for future
We don't,
widening?
the design has not been done
Okay,
yet.
well, it's something you might address with them if you get a
Okay.
chance.
But I'm sure that, I know they're gonna widen it, but I don't know if they're gonna do 4 lanes. Is there any plans for a 4-lane post road?
You don't know?
I don't think
20
y'all
years
want
down the
to.
road.
Huh?
Should be plans with the amount of traffic that's on that road.
Y'all won't?
No, don't want it, but it should
We've got a lot of.
That's the first time that's ever been mentioned to me, is the 4-lane post road. Most of the people in District 4, y'all will leave it, everything rural. If you put 4 lanes, you gonna have trucks galore.
Well,
Wait till they dredge out that Savannah port, and you have 10 times the trucks coming through. Yes,
I was
Connie.
gonna say, if you, plan to widen it, then you'll see some development come down there.
Let's keep it to them.
That's what'll happen.
One advantage is in the Dog River Basin, and you got to have, I don't foresee a whole lot of commercial coming on both.
I don't need it. I don't think y'all want it. But it is gonna be wide, for sure.
Now, if you guys want me to, I can take back some information back to the total team and let them know what the citizens want. So if you guys are saying you do want it widened, I can bring it up.
No.
to you.
No.
Just want to bring out the information.
He doesn't know District 4 like I do.
Let me make sure.
Yes, ma'am. Little humor, that's
I love you.
everybody's excited here.
Similar question, different area. I have heard a rumor that Chapel Hill is slated for 4 lane. Is there any truth to that?
I would not doubt it. They've got so many turn lanes right now. It's 3 lanes, pretty much.
Can somebody please buy
Y'all
my
get hot.
coffee?
I hope this works. Y'all familiar with this one? Probably. Stuart Mills Road, Charlie Stores right here. Isn't that Charlie Stores?
No,
Huh?
that's no Charlie.
It used to be Charlie.
Yeah.
You can't. I saw his sister.
No.
I think you got us on Charlie Store on Highway 70 down in Campbell.
Yeah.
When you said Charlie Store, that's what we all thought of.
Yeah, birds don't hang out.
Yeah, I know, right across the bridge.
Yeah, when you said Charlie's, we were like, that's.
Well, I don't know, this used to be Charlie Campbell.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me, y'all don't throw rocks at me. Anyway, this is, 2002 splash pad.
2002.
It was, yeah. 2000, it was in the old splash, and, it's just now getting designed. But there's gonna be a lot made, done to it. This is the smooth over here. And when you're coming here and you're turning here, you can't see what's coming up that hill there. Very dangerous. You got school buses coming through there. And everything. There will be acceleration, deceleration lanes, turn lanes and everything. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Ann. I got a question. All this massive infrastructure, what about the roads that aren't fixed now?
We
How do
will
we-
get
Excuse
into
me,
that.
how do we maintain the roads now that are not being done? Question I have is that I heard or read that the reason why the roads aren't being done is they fell behind, not because of rain, but because of the trails, the bicycle trails, per person in charge. So my question is, if we're not thinking about the main structure of our roads, how can we keep building and building and want to make this county bigger if you can't take care of what you got now? No offense to you, I'm just making a statement.
Nobody got madder about those bike lanes than me.
Okay,
I guarantee
but
you.
the fact of the matter is, they said that nobody from the other commissioners, yourself and Mike Mulcair, never complained about it. They should have said so. That is definitely heard.
Well, I did, turn
You
in-
might have, but
I turned in a complaint, I even got legal involved.
But if two people disagree and two people agree, somebody's got to make a decision, and that's the commissioner, right?
Yes.
And that's not happening.
It's got to be a majority of it.
It's not happening. No offense.
And I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Out of all the road miles and everything, I've got about a third of them in my district. I get a quarter of the allocation.
Why is that?
Because that's the way I've complained ever since I've been on the board.
That's my point. You have to build a cellar before you build a house on it.
Yes, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about, but anyway, they've already got the bid out, and it's in the hands of the contractor now. This one is probably one of the most dangerous intersections there is. As you're coming down Chapel Hill Road, and you turn on Stewart Mill Road, and you go down that hill in that hole, and people are turning, going up to the backside of Chapel Hill Road, Chapel Hill subdivision. There's wrecks there all the time. It is in the works. What happened, it was originally in the 2002 splash, ran out of money, and so it kept getting pushed down. And what they're doing now is that they're working with, they're trying to find a designer, an engineer, to redo it, because what they did back in 2002 is not big enough. The culvert's not big enough, and we're going to have to get a new engineer involved.
When something like that happens, just like you would return something, did you pay this guy who falls through?
Yes, but I don't know if the code and the requirements changed because of all the construction back on in that area. But it's going to require a larger culvert, a much larger culvert.
A lot can change in 15 years.
Huh?
A lot
can change. That's right.
Well, all of that changed when the mall came in. All that drainage in there.
Well, it's not.
Flooded out the dock.
That's true, but it's in Chapel Hill too. All up there, Chapel Hill. Okay, now this is one you might be interested in. This is Bright Star Road. No, it's not. Yeah, okay. All right, you're coming from the bridge, and you want to turn there. You're going to back everybody up, and the buses, same way with the buses and everything. There's supposed to be, we're putting a through lane there, which is called a through lane, so the traffic does not have to stop. There'll be a turn lane, and acceleration lanes, deceleration lanes.
That would just be from Douglas Boulevard, would it? The 3 lane, would it be necessary?
Not 3 lanes.
I mean the turn lane.
Straight through. It will probably back up to
Douglas Boulevard.
about here.
I don't have as much traffic on the other side of it, as much as I do coming from Douglas Boulevard.
There's a lot of traffic.
Well, there's a lot of traffic there.
But
most
the
of it's
red
coming
light,
off Douglas
the red
Boulevard.
light at Douglas Boulevard
Yeah.
backs up the traffic.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you're gonna do about that, because you can't move that bridge. And
I wish they could, because I just sit there and wait.
that's not even a squash issue. This right here, Sweetwater Church and Darsh Road, if you cut through going to Paulding County, they say it's awful. I don't go that way very often, but they're gonna have turn lanes acceleration, deceleration. All right, now we're gonna get to the good stuff. We're going to talk about budget. There's not too much good to talk about the budget. It is being worked out, and I just got something late yesterday as a revised budget, and I'll bring that out. I don't have a slide for it because it came in so late. Just a little, this is important to me. It may not be important to y'all, but it's important to me. The budget has the biggest effect on the tax rate than anything. And nobody pays any attention to the budget. They wait till the millage rate, because by then, half of it's spent. And then they get, people get real uptight when you have to raise the millage rate when the budget costs it. The spending costs it. So pay attention to the budget process. Budget is adopted in December. That's what we're trying to do. Establish a budget. The revenues are based on anticipated and estimated revenues. They don't know what the digest is going to grow. They don't know how much sales tax is going to come in. There's so many unknown factors, they just have to estimate it. Spending begins on January 2nd. So half your budget is spent by the time you set the millage rate. You see how important that is. That is so very important. The finance department monitors it. They kind of reconcile it like you do a bank statement. And they reconcile, they'll say, well, this one is far beyond their targeted, or the revenues are way below the targeted thing for the month. But, and if they say you're off your targeted figure, then why? Then they have to look at things and see the trends of the revenues and see the spending of the department. Sometimes expenditures come early in the year, and some come late in the year. Like the tax commissioner's office, the big expenditure is sending out the tax bills, and that comes in the fall of the year. Digest received from the tax commissioner in about July, August, and the millage rate is set using the budget and the digest and any adjustments. It's basically taking your digest and dividing it into your budget. That's basically what you do when you kind of set the millage rate. You had your hand up.
Roy Sparks, if you don't know me. And I'd like to thank you for voting no on the 2017 budget.
Thank you.
Whether y'all know it or not, the 2017 budget left Douglas County $8 million in the hole. They borrowed money from others, $8 million from other sources to balance the budget.
It wasn't borrowed money. Let me just
It was shifted around.
They took $8 million out of reserves to balance the 2017 budget. And I brought a lot of this out, but anyway, it is what it is. You can't go back and undo something, but you need to learn. You need to learn from the mistakes too. But it was a different administration than what we have here. But the budget has the greatest effect on your tax rate, and don't y'all forget that.
But what can we do?
Monitor that budget. See what
How do I do it? How does somebody that lives in the county? I mean, I'm here at the meeting, but what can we do?
Okay, first of all,
Other than call and complain, and they're not gonna listen to you anyway.
I'm going to give you an email address that you can shoot an email to every one of the commissioners and voice your concern. I'm going to tell you the dates of the budget hearing. Show up. Man, if we had this many at a budget
Don't they
hearing.
have to have so many public hearings before they can approve the budget?
Yes, we're having one on the 5th and the 19th, I think.
You know why you got this many? It's 7 o'clock at night and we're all home from work. 10 o'clock in the morning and it's really tough.
Well, we have a night meeting now on the third
Okay.
week of the month.
Okay,
And that would be on the 19th when we would adopt the budget.
okay.
So, but we're on TV. That's one thing, I've been pushing for this for years. Get the work session on TV. And you can watch that, and that's where all the back and forth comes into play. When we get up on that Tuesday to vote, it's just real sweet and smooth and everything, most of the time.
You have the night meeting, but your work session is in the morning. So that kind of cancels out the advantage of that night meeting. So everything's done in the work session. It's already done by the time you have your
But
night meeting.
y'all let me know. But my website, who's not getting my newsletter? Who does not get my newsletter? Well, you, because you retired,
changed email.
your email changed. Make sure that Rick has your email address. I send out 1,000 newsletters. Newsletters to 1,000 people when I send them out. And I pretty well tell everything that's going on, whether it's popular with other people or not. I'm not going to hide the truth. And if the truth makes people mad, that's just too bad.
Excuse me, is this the 2018 budget proposed, or is that the 2017?
This is
2018, this one is 8,000 short.
8 million.
8 million. That was close to what I read. So this is the 2018.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
My
So,
And what I'm concerned about is the recent sentiment I'm seeing from many of the other commissioners. Mr. Robinson has made it very clear that he doesn't
Can't
give.
hear you. You gotta stand up and say.
Sorry.
Rude.
Sorry, I didn't hear the directions. I was always in trouble in school. My concern from being on the city and getting a very lack of information from the county recently about things that are going on. I've also been following Kelly Robinson's comments about people that are concerned about things, and it seems like he just doesn't give a darn. So I think from this area here and from my ward in downtown Douglasville, it really concerns me that there is a majority now that really has shown that they don't give a darn about the rest of the community, and it's really frustrating to me because as a city, like the bus system issue that I'm sure you're going to get to, we were not informed, the city was not formally informed of that until the county needed a sponsor,
To sign off on the CMAQ grant.
support letter for a grant. I find that disconcerting
That
when
shocked me
it
too.
mostly affects my ward. So I believe,
But
I don't want
I
to
did
break
think
it.
one or two council people were aware of it. But I'm not,
And I don't know, I have I have my beliefs, but from the city manager standpoint, there was no formal knowledge that the city had.
And that's what I've heard, but I went back to the minutes, and as soon as, this happened a year ago, no, 2015, I think, the minutes read that now we need to get the mayor on board and start talking with the city, so.
And I've seen, actually, you provided that to me. There was, from our city manager standpoint, there was never any communication, but that's just by way of example. My concern is going forward that there's going to be a majority of the commissioners who just don't care about folks out here in this board, or don't care about people who have a different opinion.
I'm not gonna say that all of them don't care, and I don't wanna get into personalities, okay? But, if you don't like a stance that a commissioner is standing on, you need to let the whole board hear from you. That's why I'm gonna give you that email address, because, some people like to just kinda take the ball and run with it and leave the team back here, the rest of the team back here. And I don't like some of the things that's happened too, but, I do try to work with people, but, I don't like them yelling at me. But, but anyway, but I can take it. I'm tough, let me tell you. This figure has changed. We're in the process of redoing the whole budget, okay? And the email that I got yesterday, I don't see a date, at 5 o'clock yesterday, November the 8th, okay? 4:42 to be exact. They've got it, the deficit down to where there's 3 million that they would have to borrow from the fund balance to balance the budget. But we're still working on it. Okay, we're still working on it, and I even put up here some of my recommendations. Oh, just remember, it's not just the Board of Commissioners. We got all the elected officials and the expenses that they turn in, what they need, and so we have to. It's a long, drawn out process.
Before you move on, excuse me.
Stand up.
I was going to say, before you move on, can you tell us where they found $5,000?
No, as I said, I got this yesterday, and it's just a recap. So I have not had time to digest the whole thing. And I apologize, but I will be sending it out in my newsletter. Okay. They cut a lot. And,
And what was the total budget? What was the total budget?
it was, right at 82 million. 82 million. This is kind of, and this is, these figures will change slightly when everything's glued down, but this kind of shows you what part of the revenues go where. And we were given a lot of reasons why there was a deficit, and one of the reasons was tax revenues are just trending down. These are all, ones in the red are the ones that's trending down. Local option sales tax, and Mike, I know you know this, the cities, and that's Rica and Douglasville and our staff, they get a larger portion of the sales tax each year because back when we had the last census, we had to go in and talk with the cities and say, okay, you deliver this service. Cities have to deliver certain services to be a city, right? To qualify to be a city. And so we had to kind of bicker back and forth as to who serves what and everything. And so that, because, and there was a formula that it would take a CPA to read as to daytime population, nighttime population, all this stuff. They should have just taken the population of the city and the population of the unincorporated area and come up with the percentages for the sales tax. That would have been easier. And I think the law has changed now that we went through all that. But they will get a bigger percentage of the sales tax next year.
We have $1 million loss in TABT tax.
Yes. TABT tax. Splosh. That's based on sales. Yeah, that's on your sales. Why is sales tax going down? You got
TABT is strictly on automobiles.
Strictly on automobiles. When you go buy a new car, you pay 7%. Okay. But now with a splosh, you pay 8%. No, 7. Just 7.
It's 7 on TABT.
7 on TABT. He's an old used car.
Watch it.
Yes, Tim.
Tim Henry. Miss that?
I don't, the comment that the tax digest is going down doesn't hold water.
No, it
because-
didn't go down.
But the tax collection's going, what, because when I called and talked to Dr. Jones about Mr. Robinson yelling at you in meetings, and how I really disapproved of that.
Okay.
And we had that conversation, and she said that we were trending up, and that since Greg Baker had taken over, he had recouped so many taxes that were just laying out. It's been in the paper, it's been written up, that he is just out there. He can hardly haul it all off in the trucks that he's getting. But somehow we're behind. Now, one of y'all's comments ain't holding water. Either we're getting all this revenue, all these outstanding taxes are coming in, or they're not. And apparently, when you got red numbers in parentheses, it's not.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Your
Stand up.
TABT tax is a one-time tax now. Used to you paid that one tax every year on the automobile. Now you pay it one time. That's a tax decrease for the people of Douglas County, for the state of Georgia. It wasn't the state of Georgia. So there was actually a tax cut on your TABT tax. It's a one-time tax.
But see, it goes down. I mean, the motor vehicle, in other words, not anybody, fewer people are paying every year on the annual payment, but they're paying here, so that's really a wash.
No.
But the splosh is not.
Right.
But the statement was is that we were.
You're paying less taxes on your now we're just talking about automobiles. I'm not talking about property taxes or sales taxes. I'm talking about Avalon tax, TABT tax.
But what I'm saying, does everybody remember the paper right?
Yeah.
Am I not right about that?
I read the same thing you read, and I don't know where the numbers come from. I don't know where he's finding all this money.
I mean, you can pour water on me and tell me it's raining, but it ain't true. Either it's coming or it ain't.
I think some of it may be some delinquent personal property. Personal property is movable property, like your goods in a store, your equipment and stuff like that. It's your business personal property that you can pick up and take with you. It's not real estate, you can't move it.
Inventory, all types of inventory.
And personal property, I used to try to keep personal property within 2 years. Collected because our set up payments with people and all this other stuff. Now I don't know what's happened since then, okay? But I would actually go out and levy on that property. I've levied on bank accounts of people going out of business before they pay the taxes. It's not a cut and dry procedure. So I can't speak for what's been done since I was in that office, but
I remember them even bringing him to a meeting and bragging on him.
Yeah.
She put him up in front of the podium and he's bringing in so.
Well, I don't know what all that. It was mostly personal property. It was mostly personal property, not real estate. Because real estate, you can levy on. I mean, you can set up payments with it. You can make the bank pay it and all this other stuff. So, I would say talk with your tax. Let him show you the total. Okay, I can't speak.
Probably an award.
I can't speak. I can't speak for an elected official. This is the percentage I told you that was changing, and here's where we are. When we get down here, then it stays the same. It doesn't go down. The county's portion does not go down. Eddie, I told you I was going to talk for a little while and answer some questions, but I guess we'll do it both for me.
I hate to go back, and I understand there's a difference in the auto tax and personal property and our home tax.
Real estate.
Revenues that come into the county, don't all three of those count as revenues into the county?
Yes.
The 5 million plus that the tax commissioner reported at that meeting that they had collected, actually, Dr. Jones said that he had collected, and he acknowledged that. Doesn't that go into the revenue? So, if we collected an extra 5 million we wasn't expecting, why doesn't that help us to some extent?
I think he was saying that he collected that much a lot of times tax will roll over into the next year. One thing, like public utility tax, we have to wait for the state to send us the value before we can bill them, and they've got the same number of days to pay the tax that you would have. And oftentimes, those millions of dollars will roll over into the next year, and that's considered prior year taxes after that. So, it's not current tax.
But is it not revenue for the county when we collect it?
Oh, yes, yes.
To help with the budget.
Yeah.
We're talking about the budget.
It really, to me, if we collected at 5.8 or 5.3, I can't remember what he said, it was over 5 million. If he's collected that much back in arrears taxes into the budget this year, are we not more than the 8 million short since we collected that?
That's 5 million, that might be why the deficit is back down to 3, she said.
Could be.
I can't remember what was in the paper, so I'm not gonna try to quote those figures. I've got all these figures in my head right now.
I understand.
But I do remember Greg Baker coming up there and talking and everything. I'd have to go and look at just his books and see.
Right.
But probably some of that rolled over, and that's considered back taxes after that.
Well, where does the money
It could
go?
be a play on words or terminology. It was already figured in the budget to begin with, remember that? Because
Right.
they anticipate getting those revenues.
But when last year's books were closed and it wasn't collected, then that was a loss for last year.
No, they don't.
When it comes in on this year, it's already, last year's already balanced, right?
The revenues that didn't come in, that's when you have to start cutting your rate and everything.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that. One other question, I'll set down. On the retirees, funding for the retirees, pension, what happened that was a shortfall in 2017?
Good question. I've got that right here. We go through Gap Corps, with ACCG, which is County Commissioners Association of County Commissioners, Georgia. And they have the actuaries. They hire the actuaries, and they anticipate what the counties, each county that is involved in them, should pay. Should pay. They missed the mark. They missed the mark. Now they, of course, it's one of these things that's pointing that way when 3 fingers are pointing back. Everybody's pointing their fingers, but they missed the mark. It just came up short. $2 million. But years ago, I remember, and I can't remember which budget it was, but we didn't pay anything into it in order to balance the budget. I tell you, the budget process can be some very innovative accounting. And a lot of it you rely on staff, and they say that this is the way we can balance the budget without us cutting into the fund balance and stuff like that. But they used the credits that they had built up with GovCorps, and they didn't pay anything. And smarter thing would be to pay just part of it at least, but they didn't pay any of it just to balance the budget back then. I think they just missed the mark. I'm just going to give you a short and sweet. I think they just messed up.
Well,
But we weren't the only county they messed up with.
I said last question, got one more with what you just said. As a retiree drawing a guaranteed pension that I paid into at the rate of about 11% of my salary, plus what the county put in, what is the danger now of me not receiving my funds since it was underfunded?
Good. Excellent.
Excellent that I won't receive them, right?
I hadn't thought about that.
I have. Now, every retiree should be thinking about it. And those that are
No, we've come up with the $2 million for 2017 to pay that deficit. The $6 million that's required to be paid is in this budget we're talking about here for next year.
But the county's liability for retirees is unfunded by the tune of about 25%.
Is that, the plan at this point is to pay that, fix that 2.8 million up, or 2.7
They're
million
taking
up?
$2 million out of the 2017 to make up the deficit for 2000, out of, some funds to
It's still
pay
unfunded.
the deficit in the pension fund.
And that's to be paid soon?
Yes.
Will we ever know that it's paid?
I'll let you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It may help my phone to quit ringing if I know it.
This is what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. So, there's a shortfall of 2.5 million. But 6 million has been budgeted for that for next year, and that's part of why it went up. These are just, you know, this is what the millage rate has done over the past 3 years, and we're not even talking about a millage increase. Let me clear that up right here and now. The chairman has said she's not for it, I'm not for it, and I would think there's one or two more that would not be interested in that at all. So, but this is what the millage rate has done. This is what the millage rate. Remember, we collect for the school board, but we don't keep that money. They give it. So, but it's, last year it went down that. What we do, we roll it back. When we have a reval, we have to roll back the millage rate on the re-evaluated properties, or we have to say we're going to increase taxes. Even if we keep the same rate from one year to the other, if we don't roll it back on the reval property, which is the properties that the assessors raise the value of, then it's considered a tax increase. But we've rolled it back, is what I'm saying. We've been rolling it back all along. This year, you can't say that. That's a pretty good increase on the IGN. Pretty healthy increase. And they only budgeted 1%. So, I think they're coming up, I think that's how they're coming up with some of this money. Because I asked them, where's the increase in the revenue from the digest? Where's the increase from the collection? Where's the increase? And we got it. These are some of my recommendations that I sent to the other commissioners. We've got contract employees. I don't think they ought to get the cost of living raise. I'm sorry. But I don't think they ought to get any kind of raises other than maybe, well, a cost of living raise, yes, but not the merit raise. But they get it all. And I don't understand. A contract is a contract. If you come and you sign a contract with me, that ought to be good for a little while.
And how many background employees?
What is that?
I got a list today, but I didn't count them.
There's a lot of employees contract.
Yeah, but I did the 2.5% increase, and it wasn't about 36,000. But I still don't know what I did. The Development Authority's got $2 million right now. They don't need our money.
No, they
Sorry.
don't.
That's a sore spot with me and some of the others. Wait a minute,
I'll wait.
if you'll wait just a second. Eliminate any kind of bus funding.
There is one way you can do it that won't hurt anybody. Charge the actual cost of the rider mile.
Yeah, by the way, when you, now that you brought that up, you know, Carroll County is considered a little band bus route and everything. $3 for a one-way trip.
Does anybody use it?
That they're considering. Cobb County is 30 million in the hole.
Yep.
Yeah, they're doing away with it.
And the first thing they want to cut, guess what?
Libraries and buses.
First thing they want to cut is the bus routes. If you don't believe me, look at you. those are the figures, that's their rider numbers.
I don't believe that.
I
Greg
can't
Baker
see
was
it.
wrote up in one of them too about all that money.
I'm not talking personality. Let me tell you another thing, DeKalb County had their first splosh issue on the ballot this time because they never could put it on the ballot before because they have a MARTA tax over there. Once MARTA gets into a county, the first thing they do is put a tax on it. Just so you know. But just look at these numbers.
We can't see them.
You can't see them. I'll pass this around, y'all.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yes.
On the eliminating your bus route funding, now the information that we get when we sit down with Commissioner Robinson is that is going to be funded by grants.
For how long?
Yeah.
And then the grants run
The
out.
grant
runs out.
It will be funded by grants. And it won't cost anything. But that is only for 3 years.
That's for 3 years.
So that is a serious problem. And I know you all don't live in the city, but I hope that you are really aware of it and thinking about what can be done. And thank you for putting that up there.
And by the way, the city of Douglasville would not sign off on the CMAC grant because of exactly what she said. Grants run out. And then it falls out of the general fund.
Well, the county gave us 1 day notice to sign off on that funding, so.
I hadn't, that's probably by that.
That's exactly right.
There are some splosh projects like the senior citizens thing that's going to be in Lithia Springs, and then the youth center that's going to be at Deer Park. Once those are built, you got to increase personnel.
Boundary waters.
Boundary water? Boundary water? Okay. Anyway, anytime you build new buildings, you've got to have more personnel.
And maintenance.
And maintenance. But one of the projects is a fire department, fire station down on Douglas Hill Road. So that one I would not object to right now. We can delay it. It doesn't have to be done next year. Wait till we know the funds are going to be there. Ask all departments to cut their budgets and push. We have a lot of firemen and deputies that's having to retire, and that's part of the deficit that we've come up with because they're having to retire by 2021, or they lose a lot of their time, sick leave and stuff. And you always have a payout when somebody retires, and it's thousands of dollars. Yes, Mr. Stark.
Roy Sparks again. While I got everybody together, I'm going to ask you a question. The county is running rough and tight on the budget. How many of you, if it can be done legally, and I'm checking with the attorneys now to find out, if they put out a referendum for you to vote on for SPLOST again, to take the money, build the fire station, but take all the other money from the other buildings and repurpose it to transportation and paved roads, how many of you would vote yes to repurpose that money to pave roads in the county and subdivisions all over the county? Raise your hand.
Not transportation as a general term.
No, paving.
Say paving or not.
Paving.
Right now, $3 million a year is allocated for paving. Under the SPLOST. Under the SPLOST, okay? This is what I'm asking everybody to do. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, please do so. You can do it on the website. You can email me and it comes to my home. I don't have to sign on the county and all that. It comes to my home computer. I respond. I promise you. Here's the the email address if you want to voice your concern about anything. And that goes to every one of us, me included. It goes to every one of the commissioners. Let them know how you feel. Let them know what you suggest. Just get involved. Come to some of the meetings when it's just not about, small things. Get involved when you can. Watch it, at least watch it on TV. And if you see something or hear something that's going on in our meetings that you don't like, do something. Act. But you can watch this, the work session, and then at the day that it's done, and then you would know what's coming up the next day. Yes, ma'am.
Can you live stream that work session?
It is, well, I don't know, it may be
It's
not
live.
live.
It's recorded.
Little delay.
It's recorded.
But it gets up right away, doesn't it?
I can address that. We can record it and get it up as quickly as we can within a couple hours. So, for not having the capability to live stream or that's quality.
And that's where the meat and potatoes are discussed. I'm telling you, you'll hear us voice, each commissioner voice their concerns about an issue. And that's where you can really shoot that email out and say, I heard this at the work session, do not do this, or do this, I'm proud of it. Give us some kudos if you want to. Every once in a while.
You and Eddie Daniel, sorry to take up so much time, folks. Could you go back a slide?
Is this about fire retirement?
No, that one about the contract employees getting merit raises, they're not under the merit system. Why in the world would the county give them merit raises when they sign a contract? It's for a year, is it not? Or more? At least a year?
I argued this at the budget hearing. I've been arguing this for years. To me, a contract is a contract. Renegotiate a contract.
Right, and they renegotiate each year, do they not?
But see, a lot of those contract employees, they make a lot of money, top dollar, in order to get them to come to the county. And then sometimes, right, 3 months later, they get the end of the year raises.
Why? Whoa, you gotta cut that out.
I questioned it, and they said that it's in their contract.
Can you send me a blank contract?
I don't think it's a blank contract.
I want a blank one. I want one that doesn't have anybody's name on it.
You gonna put your name on it?
No, ma'am. I want to review it. I'm just real confused with why we're giving money to people that's already making extraordinarily high salaries compared to the rest of the county.
I know. About 2 years ago, the county gave public safety pretty good rates, and with the promise that we were going to address the other people.
Right.
And that's what the study came in with. It's going to be talking about almost $2 million for one option. I suggested we go back. I didn't put it on the slide. First option would be for just to bring the employees up to the minimum,
right.
A new minimum.
But that's the employees. That's not contracted, right?
Employees, okay.
Right. There's a difference. Married employees, contract or department heads and that sort of stuff, they're above pay salaries, way above the employees on the average.
Yeah.
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 We want to attract employees to the county too. We need good workers. It's like that fire they put out at Blossman the other day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm trumping up the fire department. But every fire person there did their job, and that area is in a lot better shape than it could have been if they'd have went up there and messed up.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about the grunt people, the people that actually put the wet stuff on the red stuff. That's not the department head. Now, there's a semi-department head that was there in charge of all of that, but he is a married employee. He's not contracted.
Well, we did give public safety, which
Right.
included the fire department, but we
Right.
gave the sheriff's office a bigger raise, and then the fire department, about, 2/3 of what we gave the other one. But we promised the other employees we were gonna give them, something, we were gonna do a study to compare them to counties our size. Can't do anything without studies. You're right, you're right. I kept telling them I could do it with a spreadsheet. But anyway, the first option would it would affect 153 employees. All total, countywide, we've got about, right around 900 employees, okay? And it would cost about $339,000. The second one is to give everybody a 2.5 raise, and it would include the contract employees.
Why?
I don't know. I'm the only one that even brought it up, and I'm telling you, I
When you
can't.
gonna have that work session again about this, and let me know, and I'll make it a
But
point
this
to
was
be
in
there.
at the retreat, and I said, a contract is a contract.
Right.
You renegotiate a contract, if they come and say, well, I've got a better offer in Coweta County and everything, I'd say, bye. But anyway, the second one, which I think they've opted, I hadn't looked at this new figure coming in, but it's gonna affect 570 employees, because those are just the ones that are not public safety. 1 million, 1.1 million is what to go with that option. Public safety, they would get the same 2.5%. It would affect 487 employees, and that's $609,000. But, they did get the big raise a couple of, I don't know.
Didn't even catch them up to what is around this area.
Well, I think the raise I don't know about the fire department, I know it did for the others, but it's just that, you just can't get blood out of a turnip if you don't have the money. but something needs to be done for the ones that are way under
Yes,
the
ma'am.
scale.
They're not contract employees at the top.
How many
See that email address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll send you another email.
Send it to all of them. No.
I send them to everybody.
Okay.
How many contract employees are there in the county?
He just asked me that, and so there's about 60.
Does every department have a contract employee?
No. This would be like the department, the transportation director, the director of, this, that, and the other.
Which department does not have a contract employee in charge of it now?
The tax commissioner's office doesn't.
That's one.
Every one of your elected officials do not.
Right.
Well, you do have some contract employees in the DA's office. You got contract.
The secretary to the board of commissioners is not contract?
Yes, she is, or she should be.
She was?
Yeah, I think she.
I'm sure it didn't put a back
When you
on
say
it.
secretary, you're talking about the clerk of the county.
Clerk of the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's in the board of commissioners office, and that's a contract employee.
I think so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well,
It was.
But I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Once they get them.
Contract employees should not be getting
That's what I'm saying.
a merit increase if the county as a whole, if all the other employees get it. But that should exclude contract. Is that what
Yes,
y'all
ma'am.
saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Put it in that email.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Eddie, I'll take the rest of the time.
Thank you.
Something
I love it. I love this.
Something I want to bring to y'all's attention, and thank you for all that you do and putting up with what you put up with. Year before last, the director of the Douglas County Development Authority made $239,000 bonus and salary.
That's
We
Rica.
give them $350,000 last year to help operate. I just got through looking at some paperwork I got on them. They got over $2 million in their bank account. Who do y'all think owns the old Douglas County Jail?
They don't own it. But they
You
get-
do, the taxpayer. The Development Authority from January through September has made $57,000 and put in their pocket renting to the film industry to do films.
Plus they get, when
Yes.
they float a bond for all these abatements, they get part of that bond money, and so does the director.
So their revenue doesn't go into the general fund?
No, they got their own department, they're an authority. Alright.
Just the women in the jail, old jail, not the other women area.
Just the jail alone brought them $57,000 through September.
And they don't own
And who y'all think pays the bill to keep the lights on there?
We do.
You. All right, another thing, the director of the Development Authority, when they do bonds,
There you
whatever
go.
the cost
Tell 'em.
is,
Tell 'em.
whatever the cost is of the bonds, when they do bonds, when all the attorneys do all the paperwork,
There you go.
and when they do all that paperwork, it will run into millions of dollars just to do the paperwork. The director of the Development Authority gets a 10% bonus of what they get paid. If Foxhall goes through
Bingo.
and he gets the bonds on Foxhall, he will probably take a check for $1 billion home.
Bingo.
The governor of the state of Georgia does not make what he made year before last, $239. His salary is basically about $90,000. The balance is bonus. Y'all need to get involved and start learning and listening, coming to the meetings. We need some people to get involved. This lady here spoke the other day. Thank people for getting involved and getting educated. And if I can ever help you, call me. I got books, and if you want to know about the contracts, Eddie, just do an open records and ask for 3 contract employees contract.
I can send you the list of contracts.
But when the meeting's over tonight, anybody that's interested in a no bus sign, there's a truck out in the gravel parking lot back here. Come to the truck in the parking lot.
I don't know if y'all know Brian Miller. He runs the Douglasville, is it Douglasville Civic Pay?
It's the one with the bad lanes.
Yeah, we're bad.
Most of what you put out there, you just like, or you like their page.
A lot of your people are on that. Are in there.
Okay. Are we deplorables?
My name's Kelly Cobb, and I'm naturally loud, so y'all don't need me to stand. But can you go back to the slide of the pie chart that had a breakdown of the funding, please? Keep going, it's the pie chart.
Okay. Is this
I have 2 questions about it.
How about key line 5?
We're getting there in a minute.
No, we don't talk about buses. Yeah, I'm getting there. I want to do that too.
Now this could change a little bit
Yeah.
because this was based on the original.
I just have 2 general questions, okay? So, question number 1 is, what is the change in the number of employees from last year to this year? That's 1. How many, have we gone up, have we gone down, are we about the same?
We have hired some. Yes.
About how many more do we have now than we had last year? Are we talking about a significant increase?
And other councilmen's ward, it's the city that's bearing the brunt of the ramifications of this project. Unfortunately,
The routes are going in.
Yeah, the routes are going.
That's what they're saying.
Right.
Yeah, without your permission.
So last year when we did the service delivery strategy, we allowed the county to have the authority to pay for and be in control of any public transportation systems countywide. So I've asked our attorney, and we've got an opinion letter that basically we have an agreement through the SDS agreement, which allows the county to have control of city roads. That's disappointing. I did not realize that.
You mean as far as transportation is concerned?
Yeah, as
Because
far
you've
as
got your roads and we've got.
Yeah, and then we've got some mix of, you're taking care of some roads and we're taking care of some roads. But when it comes to, we specifically laid out the ability for the county to have control of and pay for a countywide public transportation system.
When, and that was in service delivery, and that was.
That was
what,
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2015.
How come, excuse me, why is only one commissioner involved in that? There was only one at that meeting.
Which meeting are you talking about?
He's talking about the transportation. The new administration has set up committees, and the city has committees, don't you? And set up chairs for those committees. And he's talking about the transportation committee. And the buses were ordered before they should have been ordered, but that was already done. I mean, it was done through the committee.
Right, but is that brought back to you all?
That committee is not, in my opinion, that committee is not getting back, and the chairman of that committee is not bringing it back. The chairman of the commission is allowing that commissioner to do whatever the heck he wants.
That's my point. We're working out of a vacuum.
Well, and think about it from a city perspective, because we've had them come in and talk to us, and they come in and present information that doesn't even exist. And we've had another county commissioner come to a downtown neighborhood association meeting, and the week before, there was a consent agenda item that went through that he didn't even know about.
This is all with the part of the monitor. This is the whole connection.
Yeah, all that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
The commissioner that came and
Without
spoke.
the citizens of Douglas County.
And that was being done without the knowledge of some of the staff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We work out of a vacuum. Not you, Ann, but I'm saying we work out of a vacuum. We make side deals.
That's very disconcerting because.
And I'm glad it was filmed. I'm glad that committee was filmed because they're not normally filmed.
Well, you saw the personalities there through that filming, and that really concerns me because there's a distinct. And with our committees, we meet as a council as a whole during committee. Sure, I'm the chairman of one committee, but I don't yell at anybody. Everybody has a say. I don't really direct it, so I think there's a little more. There's a little more latitude being allowed with the city. Yeah, I foresee. From what I've seen on videos, it seems like it works a little differently.
It's called bullying.
Okay. We're still talking about buses.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I waited till last to talk about it. Yes, sir.
Does this come up, okay, does this come up, okay, I'm short. Does this come up as a vote? Do you all, the four of you vote on this? Does this come up as a vote? Is that how it's
The
decided?
CMAQ was applied for last week, I think, and it was approved by the committee.
So you all do not vote?
I
Yes,
think
we do
at
want
one
bus
time-
service. No, we do not.
I think
We
at
do
one
not.
time, about a year or so ago, there was something about the CMAQ, and I'll have to look back on
Okay.
that. But it wasn't about 4 routes of buses either.
Okay.
Kind of like the
Well,
bus line.
But I mean, you don't have to say, all right, we had a meeting with a person and, he said, this individual said, I haven't voted yet. So you all vote on this, is that correct, or you do not vote
The
on it?
CMAQ was approved back in the minute, I think in the minutes it shows like it was done either 2015 or 2016, I can't remember.
Okay, so that's already approved, so you don't get another vote.
But no, they were applying for another grant just this week, week or so ago,
When you say they, who is they?
transportation.
That's the committee.
I don't remember voting on to go back and sometimes the terminology just says to apply for a CMAQ grant for transportation, but they don't get to the details. But it's, I don't remember voting was recently, they had a deadline to apply for that. And
So we
God,
can
I
have
have
a strategy.
to look back, but I have never been in favor of buses going out of the county connecting with Martin.
They'll be open their mouth.
Well, that's what I'm saying. One of the bus routes actually goes down Six Flags Drive in Cobb County.
Yeah.
And so who's gonna pay for that? Douglas County?
So why is this still
But now, those routes are not set in gold. They put something together to justify them applying for that CMAQ.
All right, yesterday, I said and read through 100 pages of emails that I got through open records between our transportation department and the consultant for the buses. The Connect consultant came from a purchase order issued through the purchase order department requested by the Gary Watson of Transportation for Connect. Connect also is a major consultant for Martin. In the emails, one of the emails says, the route that goes to H.H. Homes from Douglas County needs to be your major route concern. Because when you turn this into ARC, that will get you more points than any other route. So the consultant is telling them to put the route from here to H.H. Homes Martin Station to get the most points. So that gets to another point. They say this bus system is for the people of the county. Why are you working on a point system if you're worried about people? But I read through 100 pages of emails to find this. And I got the purchase order today, and it was $7,500 to pay the consultant to tell them this.
Because some of that federal transportation money goes through ARC and then gets directed back. That's why.
If they're washing the bus system, why are they still bringing it up? That's what I don't understand. They say it's off the table.
It's off the table this year.
For 2018.
But we're still.
For the next fiscal year, for 2018.
It's being removed off the budget.
And if it was to come up again, it would have to be voted on again. I don't understand how we have 4 buses, or however many buses, and approval for bus routes if the entire commission didn't vote on that.
We don't have approval for the route. We've only got a draft, a recommendation, and we're supposed to have public meetings about it.
But we already have buses. You said buses have already been acquired. How can that expenditure have been made without the authorization of the commission?
That was taken out of a grant money that was approved last year.
Okay, well, the point is, if it was approved last year
But
as a
we were
result of some
talking
grant
about
money.
senior citizens and.
But the point is, the entire commission, which I would presume, you would have to have sat in on those discussions.
It's not about bus routes going outside of the county.
Well, but the acquisition of the buses.
And one thing, the whole premise behind the buses per KR was to bring people to get to work. That's what the bus is for.
They had a study. They did another study.
I had a study.
And they came out with how to move more people in the county. It's a real big study and everything. And that's when the buses, the situation with the buses, started growing after they did that study. And they were recommending that people needed to get to jobs down at Lithia Springs and all this other stuff and everything. But and I remember telling somebody, they said we need to get the jobs down to Thornton Road and down at Lithia Springs to go to work for Amazon or whoever. And they were getting paid $60,000. I said, if I made $60,000, I'd drive my own car.
That's right.
I'd ride the bus. I'm not going to get on the bus and and if you go, we have a bus system system that leaves Douglas County right now, the Greta parking lots, and the multi-model
And they go to
parking
downtown
lot
again?
behind the courthouse and everything. I think they actually even go to the mall.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
But you go to this Greta parking lot on Douglas Boulevard, there's not 100 cars on there, and that's for the peak time. They're talking about buses running all day long. All day long. There's not,
Where's the money going from?
it's not, and the ridership will not pay, they're estimating 25% ridership
Tell you
fee.
anything.
There ain't no way, because they don't even have 100 people riding modern,
That's right.
Greta buses now, out here. So,
Yeah.
now the other parking lot is pretty full and everything. And that's for going to work, but it's outside the county. But, so we don't need to connect outside the county, is what I'm saying. I'm okay with a small bus system that may go to the elderly places, the libraries and places like that. But, and that's something we need to be thrashing out between now and the time that, probably by September of next year. Because if they get that grant, it will be awarded in about September of next year for the first year, and that's like $2 million.
Yeah, I won't pay for it.
Can we vote?
And
They're gonna have public meetings. You need to vote. You need to voice.
I do for it, but
Well,
we vote.
He will put, no, you can't vote. You get a vote.
You don't need to miss it.
Yes, as far as approval of any routes.
Point of order real quick, this lady in red had her hand up for about 10 minutes, and I just want to give her.
Well, I think we are going back to the budget now. So how are we paying for all these studies and these connects and all that sort of stuff? Because it's not free. And we see all the paperwork and the maps that they're posting. How is it being paid for, and how can it continue to be paid for if we're tabling it and all this? Because it seems to just keep gaining
Well, a
steam
lot of
rather
it's
than
coming
slowing
out of
down.
grant money that was awarded
But we had
last
to
year.
match part of that, did we not? We put up something.
Yes.
How much?
Well, it depends on the grant, probably around 20% or something like that. Sometimes it's a smaller amount, I don't know.
But you don't know the dollar figure.
they
No,
won't
it's
fix the roads.
different for different kinds of grants.
But the how much money have we put towards this system so far?
I have no idea.
Can't
The
fix
bus
the-
system.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I guess that's the big concern, is they're pushing this thing.
Well, we don't know what to add up, because I don't know which direction it's going, just like you.
But somebody does, I should hope, because.
I know where they want it to go, but I'm not sure that it's going.
But we already have spent, I guess that's my concern, is we have, much dollars have been spent to fund a bus system that's not even getting off its feet, praise God. But where is that money coming from, and hopefully it's got.
A lot of that was paid by some grants. I've got something here and I'll find it and I'll show
But my
you.
understanding was that we had to match that grant. It wasn't just free money from whomever the grant person is.
No,
So what have we put up?
nothing's free. You would, it'd take a CPA to figure it out, to be honest, because they've had the big study about just transportation and everything. And, I'm pretty sure they applied for those that CMAQ 4 back in 2000.
I guess this proves my point. The spending is obviously out of control with no direction whatsoever. It seems like these are just willy-nilly projects. The bus system's brought it to a head with no direction whatsoever, because the project constantly changes. It started out as a senior citizen thing. It's grown to a couple bus routes or whatever, and now we're connecting to MARTA in an area that we don't want to be connected to. I don't want to be connected to it. So
I want to say something. Now, there's a couple things here. I'm a software consultant for Oracle. Thankfully, I'm not able to work from home. But when I worked in Buckhead, I would have liked to be able to catch a bus from Douglasville into Buckhead. But because they're only were at certain set times, that didn't work for me when I got off at whatever time that I got off that evening. So I had to drive in 45 minutes or an hour to get to Buckhead because there are not that many professional and technical jobs in Douglas County. So that's a two-pronged issue here. If there were more professional and technical jobs in Douglas County, then more people could work and live in Douglas County. I kind of like living in Douglas County. I don't necessarily want to live in downtown Atlanta. But because of my profession, that's where I have to go to work. And I'm sure that's a case for a lot of people.
70% of the people that live in Douglas County work in Atlanta.
Right. So the whole thing about the buses and the buses, like people don't want the buses.
But they chose to move out here.
Exactly, because I like living here. But my career, what I do for my career is different from where I want to live.
We don't have enough educated people here.
I don't want to live in downtown there. I like living here, but my profession makes me have to go downtown. I shouldn't have to shoot. Yeah, I shouldn't have to.
So does ours. We're not asking for a bus system, and I'm not asking for somebody to pay for me to get downtown.
The bus system that's being proposed isn't even gonna give you what you're asking.
But I'm saying that had come up in a discussion about the different times of the bus schedule and that the
I think
express
there's
bus and that
11 routes out of the Greta parking lots that go to Atlanta today.
It did not work for me and several other people that I talked to because of.
But most people locate where their jobs are. So I don't know.
But the thing is, we need to also look at, as far as the development authority, bringing more professional and technical jobs besides the distribution jobs.
That's where the money's at for the development authority.
Well,
that's where the director makes his.
That's where he gets his incentives.
His incentives.
But these bus stops that we're talking about, they're not going over where the Greta system is. They're going in my front yard, where I already have trouble getting out of the driveway some days to get to the grocery store or to go pick my son up from school. I live there. My parents live a 10th of a mile down the road. I don't want it in my neighborhood.
We're not going to solve this tonight. No, I can assure you. But stay involved. Voice your opinion to all the commissioners. And Mike, you want to say something?
I kind of realized y'all's committee system works differently than the city's committee system. It doesn't seem that the committee, it seems that the transportation committee does whatever the heck they want, presents it to the council or to the commission in vague language that may sound okay. And my question is, what can we do as a citizenry to help you and help the other commissioners
we get minutes,
sharing
we get
information?
Recommendations to do such and such. It comes out of the committee, but we don't have all the details that they've got.
Well, and you're not going to get it from this situation.
If one of them had not been filmed by Mr. Sparks here, I wouldn't have known that Martha was being reached out.
That's very concerning to me, that you've got a committee chair that acts unilaterally on whatever the heck he wants to do, however he wants to do it, and there's no leadership at the county level to control what he's doing. He's costing us taxpayers dollars because he wants to do something, not because the commission wants to do something.
Well, Commissioner Robinson is saying is his district doesn't work, and he's advocating for his district.
Put it in his district, don't put it in mine.
Well, what I suggested is all these big companies that are located in Lithia Springs, if they want that we give abatements to, tax abatements to by the law, if they want workers from the other end of the county or in Fulton County, have their little van go out there and get it. I call her
This is not bus related, but the bike lanes. I
I heard that y'all are gonna start adding lights.
Oh, yeah. That's in the splash.
That's in the spot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you.
Second question is, I heard that Boundary Waters Park, they're going to take the red equestrian trail out and pave it to hook up to trails in Carroll County and Fulton County and other counties surrounding us for walking and biking paths. Now, I heard that from a county employee, that is being done.
I will check into that. No, I have not heard that they're removing, because, I've been over there when they had the horses over there. They're just trailers all around and they have the horses.
They're still gonna have the trails, but they're taking the red trail out that runs right by the Chattahoochee River and connecting, or putting in concrete trails to connect to Carroll County, Greenway, and other counties surrounding, so they're gonna eliminate basically half the equestrian trail.
I will check on that. I have not heard that.
Are the lights? They are?
Street lights, yes, it was in the splosh.
Well, when they keep saying it was in the splosh, so that means somebody voted on it to have lights.
The splosh was made up of 20, the
No,
committee was.
that committee never voted on lights on Riverside Parkway.
No, wait a
That
minute.
committee never voted on
There was a
that.
committee of 20 people, is what I'm saying. And staff brought recommendations to them, because we were not allowed to go and talk to them. And to me, why not? I never did understand that. But they kind of picked and chose what they wanted to go as far as the recommendations of that committee did.
Can we
See,
Because-
that's what
Yes,
Yes.
yes. All the meetings are open.
One more time, Ed. I would like to challenge all of y'all to go to a transportation committee meeting if you can. They're generally at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and normally I'm there with the camera filming it. I try to post it, but I challenge y'all, if you want some excitement and something to wake you up, go to some committee meetings and watch what happens and watch how they operate the committee.
Now, the public cannot have input into the committees, but they can sit in.
And where are the meetings?
If you'll give me your email address, it's generally in the conference room, the commissioner's conference room. If you'll meet me afterwards, you give me your email, I'll send you the dates of the committee meeting. And if any of you would like to help film them, I'll be glad to step aside and let you video them and help me.
Commissioner Goddard, can I say one thing?
Yes.
Please. Just to let you guys know, we just created something on a website, a hotspot in the left column, the first column. You can go to the hotspot, you can go to the website and see committee meetings. Just, we want to make it simple for you guys. I'm sorry?
Why don't you include that in the Douglas County applicant?
Sure, I can consider that, absolutely. If you're interested, yes. We'll do that. We'll do that. Sure. You saw it, ma'am. I understand.
But don't you
Okay.
have a spot on the
We do, and
website
under events, yes.
that you can submit complaints to? But if you use his email address, it reaches every commissioner, chairman, and district commissioner. Yes, sir.
To piggyback on your past question, you guys Google the Chattahoochee Path Foundation, Mike Mulcair got that. I hear the park coming up quite a bit, and I've spoken with Mike Mulcair a few times, and that park has come up. How does Douglas County get involved in that? How do we get out of it?
Are you talking about the trail?
Oh,
that.
Because that's Chattahoochee Path Foundation.
We've been a member as long as I can remember. I think Carroll County pulled out of it, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm
trying to get on.
But
we're spending the money, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is.
we pay a lot for
Directly
belong.
paying for it.
Yeah, you pay a lot.
Sure do.
Do we get any grants from ARC? Do we get
Yes,
any?
yes, Lee Road, is done to, ARC. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Mary Lou,
The bike paths that are out there on Riverside, okay, are pretty much useless for any of the bikers who want to use it, because all of the trash that is on the road goes over there. Why in the world, when they built that, did they not put a curb up there? That's $400,000 to put a curb in there, probably could have come in there.
Well, the bike lanes were not a budgeted item to begin with. It was not in the budget, it was taken out of, leftover grant. LNIG and, the off-road safety. You know, I've been harping on the drop-offs along our roads, because we've got rural roads out here, and there's ruts this deep, and it's a safety hazard, and we had a grant. But some of that grant money was used on the bike lanes.
Well, the bike roads are useless, truly,
Yeah.
on that road in particular. I mean, I
They
leave
are
for a bike lane
useless,
all day
you're right.
long on some of these roads.
Yeah.
But that road, we lived out there
There's
for
trucks,
about 8
big
years.
18-wheelers on that road. I
Well,
wouldn't ride.
the average
It's a
citizen
right-on-
can't go up and down those
Good luck.
hills. I mean, that's an absurd place to put any kind
And
of
to
a bike
like
lane.
that road, what are we gonna like every road in the county?
Well, see, tributary out there
I
is
know,
in the city.
yeah.
It is, that whole subdivision is annexed in the city. And they want city stuff, but this is something that they got. I don't even know how it got added to the splosh, but, anyway.
The lights are gonna be very close together from what I've heard.
And close to the, right up to the road. So if they ever wanna widen the road, they're gonna have to dig up all the lights.
Who's gonna ride at night anyway?
No, this is what I was told, was that Mr. Siegel, by Mr. Siegel, that driving down that road is dangerous at night, because there's curves, there's hills, there's deer, and especially if it's raining, but that's not like every other county road. It's like that. And that's part of the beauty of our county, that vibe.
It was like that in Macon last night.
So
I would never make it up the hill.
Well, it's.
Look, it is 8 o'clock, this has been